Baki is absorbed in his meditation practice, causing the captain to wait for him patiently. Once Baki completes his session, he immediately apologizes to the captain for the delay, curious about his presence. The captain explains his purpose. He wishes for Baki to meet an incredibly formidable individual. As they share green tea, the captain cautions Baki about the immense strength of this individual. Before divulging further, the captain poses a peculiar question: the identity of the most powerful creature ever to exist. Baki wonders if this is a veiled reference to his father, Yujiro, often considered the pinnacle of human strength. However, the captain clarifies that his inquiry pertains to the strongest creature in all of existence, pointing towards a dinosaur. The captain simplifies his question, asking Baki to identify the strongest dinosaur. As expected, Baki readily responds with T-Rex, or Tyrannosaurus Rex. After Baki's response, the captain unfolds a newspaper with a sensational headline: "A man supposedly stronger than a T-Rex." He details a story of expeditioners discovering a T-Rex fossil next to a human, frozen together during an excavation in a salt reserve. The sight of the human frozen next to a T-Rex confounded the explorers, raising questions about the coexistence of humans and dinosaurs, and why the human appeared prepared to engage the massive creature. Realizing the magnitude of the discovery, the expeditioners promptly informed their headquarters. The mystery man was extracted from the ice and experimentation began to revive him. The lead scientist, Payne, thanks everyone for the groundbreaking find, predicting a complete shift in world history. While the discovery challenges the belief that humans appeared no more than 7 million years ago, Payne decides to withhold the information from the public, fearing it would disrupt humanity's current understanding. Instead, he opts to gradually reveal the data, ensuring a controlled response. One scientist questions the feasibility of reviving the fossilized man. Payne admits the process isn't as straightforward as basic resuscitation, but insists it's possible based on a similar incident. He recounts a 2000 event when Professor Russell Borellin discovered microorganisms in ancient seawater preserved in a 250-million-year-old rock salt. After nurturing them in a controlled environment, these microorganisms were successfully revived after 120 days. Payne draws parallels between this event and the preserved fossilized man, dubbing him Pickle. The scientists hook Pickle up to a range of monitors and adjust the lab's temperature to mimic the Jurassic conditions. Despite 3 months of efforts, they fail to bring Pickle back to life, prompting one scientist, Alan, to label the experiment a failure. Bored and craving steak, Alan recalls the T-Rex stored at their facility and decides to sate his curiosity by being the first person ever to consume T-Rex meat. In the meantime, Payne unravels a mystery. The tissues from the T-Rex are identical to those found in Pickle's stomach. The implication is clear. Pickle was a predator of the T-Rex. As Kane sears a cut from the T-Rex, the aroma permeates Pickle's quarters, stirring him from his 200-million-year slumber. Awakening in a world filled with unfamiliar sights, machines, wires, artificial lights, and synthetic materials, Pickle is stunned and confused. Emerging from his recovery pod, the scent of T-Rex, a comforting remnant of his past, guides him to Alan, who is savoring the steak. Faced with the imposing Pickle, Alan fears for his life. He contemplates defending himself with a knife and a gun hidden in his desk, but realizes their futility. To his relief, Pickle appears uninterested in him, devouring the steak instead, and leaving Alan unharmed. Fearful, Alan arms himself with the gun, alarming Pickle, who advances towards him menacingly. Despite his futile attempts to warn Pickle off with the firearm, Alan shoots at Pickle's feet. In response, Pickle swiftly appears behind him. A direct shot to Pickle's chest merely results in bullets ricocheting, one scraping Pickle's skin. Pickle retaliates, hurling the bullets back at Alan and injuring his elbow. Perplexed by Pickle's non-lethal intent and growling communication attempts, Alan guides Pickle to the storage area with the T-Rex and manages to confine him. He then contacts the police, believing he may have saved himself. Upon their arrival, Payne learns about Pickle's revival and containment. Alan explains his call for a heavy police presence by detailing Pickle's strength and resilience, suggesting that even a significant police force may be inadequate. A special agent assures Payne they can manage the situation but is rebuffed. Payne insists on military involvement, arguing that a large number of officers would be insufficient. The officer maintains his confidence in their ability to handle a single unarmed man unless he is of King Kong or Godzilla's caliber, unknowing that Pickle surpasses both. Suddenly, Pickle breaches the facility, confirming the presence of a catastrophe-level threat. Despite the agent's immediate call for reinforcements, it's too late. Pickle charges, beginning his assault on the police vehicles. Payne discerns Pickle's fury is driven by the sight of his extinct rival, the T-Rex, whose demise eradicated Pickle's raison d'etre, battling T-Rex. Consequently, humans inadvertently ignited his fury by eliminating his opponent. Meanwhile, to secure military assistance, a fabricated report of an armed terrorist invading a nuclear waste facility is disseminated. The military, eager to field test their secret weapon, swiftly responds. However, the supposed terrorist is actually Pickle, a Godzilla-like entity. Upon arrival, the head army officer berates the police for a false report, but concludes that a suicide bomber must be the culprit. He spots Pickle, calmly waiting, and questions why Payne doesn't simply eliminate him. Payne clarifies that Pickle, despite his savagery, represents a priceless asset to humanity, which necessitates his preservation. Accepting Payne's reasoning, the officer assures him they'll capture Pickle unharmed, planning to deploy their secret weapon, a multi-purpose battle machine, MPBM. However, Pickle easily destroys the MPBM, defending the T-Rex's remains, a relic from his era. The Special Forces captain, after observing Pickle's incredible strength, personally steps in to pacify him. Approaching him in the nude to avoid triggering aggression, the captain extends his hand in friendship. Recognizing the gesture, Pickle reciprocates. The captain pledges to relocate Pickle to Japan, where beings similar to him reside. Subsequently, the U.S. military escorts Pickle to Japan aboard a military aircraft. Japanese media catches wind of this unusual passenger, a primitive man from the Jurassic era. As Pickle disembarks, he scans his surroundings warily, still clad in modern clothing. On observing him on TV, Baki recognizes Pickle's raw power and primal nature. One news reporter attempts an interview, and Pickle, intrigued by her attractiveness, advances on her. Despite the military's attempts to intervene, Pickle continues his advances, forcing everyone to bear witness to his brutish behavior. The act fuels nationwide hostility towards Pickle, marking him as a savage monster. Unaware of his transgression, Pickle falls asleep, oblivious to the chaos he has caused. Meanwhile, Payne theorizes to the world about the cataclysmic event during the Cretaceous period that plunged Earth's surface to -270 degrees Celsius due to a massive meteor strike blocking out the sun's heat, thereby starting a new era. The Earth was abruptly frozen to -270 degrees Celsius, and all life, including enormous dinosaurs, insects, and their combats, halted abruptly. The cataclysm's intensity displaced the Earth's tectonic plates, solidifying a specific battle between Pickle and the T-Rex in the typically unchanging salt rock stratum. Of the two specimens discovered in this state, the T-Rex was too mutilated for revival, while Pickle, the human, was preserved intact. Payne, though sympathizing with the assaulted reporter at the airport, stands by his belief that Pickle, a vestige from 200 million years ago, remains a global treasure. He contends that moral judgments are irrelevant to a primitive being like Pickle. Nonetheless, Payne's defense of Pickle triggers public outrage, with calls for Pickle's public execution as punishment. The situation escalates as enraged citizens gather outside the U.S. military base, demanding justice for the assaulted reporter. However, The U.S. military refrains from commenting on the situation, stoking further outrage. Amid the protesters, Yujiro, Baki's father, appears, seeking a meeting with Pickle. Another strong fighter, Ritsu, also infiltrates the base to encounter Pickle, who is held in a makeshift treehouse within the facility, watched by military personnel. One officer marvels at the treehouse's construction, complete with books, a fish tank, and a fake dinosaur, all arranged within a month. Still, they remain unsure if Pickle appreciates these trappings of modern life. While Ritsu stealthily approaches Pickle's holding area, Yujiro confronts the gate guards, exuding a demonic aura that unnerves bystanders. A protester, Tomatsu Ishizuka, likens Yujiro's presence to standing near a blazing engine. Under Yujiro's influence, the guards begin to turn on each other, seemingly compelled to blame and harm one another, much like misbehaving siblings caught by a stern father. Yujiro watches this chaotic spectacle with satisfaction, striding into the military base unopposed. He commends the guards, stating that their choice to harm each other, rather than flee, was the right one. He explains his aura triggered a fear so profound they deemed self-destruction a better fate than falling to Yujiro's wrath. Praising their instinctual decision, Yujiro forgives them and proceeds into the military facility. Finally free from the daunting presence of Yujiro, the soldiers breathe a sigh of relief, perplexed by the eerie aura they had encountered. Meanwhile, Yujiro effortlessly shreds the lock on the gate with his bare hand and strides forward. Concurrently, Ritsu attempts to blend in, synchronizing his breathing with a soldier ahead of him to avoid detection. His challenge is finding the primitive man, Pickle, within the vast military base. Unexpectedly, the soldier in front of Ritsu starts chatting with another soldier about the drudgery of their patrol duties. Ritsu decides to shadow this new soldier, hoping he could lead him to Pickle. Just as Ritsu's cover is nearly blown when the soldier spots his shadow, Ritsu quickly incapacitates him with a swift punch to the neck. Climbing a network tower for a better vantage point, Ritsu spots a peculiar building that seems like a base within a base. Using an improvised grappling hook, he infiltrates the building through the vents and finds the room where Pickle is held. There, he discovers Shinoji, an old acquaintance, already present and having subdued the guards. Both men are there for the same reason: to meet and potentially spar with Pickle. Since Shinoji was first, he should have the honor of meeting Pickle. However, a man named Doppel, emerging from the dinosaur statue, argues that he arrived first. But they're not alone. Jack surfaces from a small pond, Goki appears from under the bed, Arechi breaks through the walls, and Jakku descends from the vents, surprising everyone with his presence. With their unexpected reunion over, the main event is about to commence. They peer into Pickle's treehouse to find him deeply asleep. Incredulous at his peaceful slumber amidst the chaos, Jack decides to rouse Pickle with a swift kick to the tree. Emerging from his slumber, Pickle steps out, relieving himself before addressing the others. Yujiro reveals himself and greets Pickle, welcoming him to the future. Arachi challenges Yujiro, quickly realizing the chasm in strength between them. Unfazed, Yujiro untangles his shoelaces in seconds, then shatters the seemingly indestructible glass wall using his brute strength. He addresses Pickle, questioning his namesake of a salted vegetable, given his status as a formidable ancient warrior. Despite the language barrier, Yujiro encourages Pickle to comprehend his intent, like a child intuitively understanding a mother's words. Yujiro informs Pickle that the 8 fighters present seek a battle with him, and admits his interest in Pickle's strength. As Yujiro and Pickle bump fists, an illuminating surge fills the room, signifying their competitive push against each other's fists. The display of strength from Yujiro reminds Pickle of a T-Rex, prompting him to amplify his power. Responding instinctively, Yujiro executes a move that sends Pickle sprawling on the floor. Shocked yet undeterred by Yujiro's strength, Pickle rises again, drawing everyone's attention. However, their highly anticipated clash is interrupted when the military surrounds the building, ordering Yujiro to surrender. Emerging from the gate, Yujiro is immediately apologized to by a soldier named Henry, who assures him they are not there to arrest him, as it is practically impossible. Yujiro queries how they knew of his arrival. Henry, the soldier, clarifies that Yujiro's entry through the front gate hadn't gone unnoticed, making his presence within the base well known. When Yujiro prompts Henry to state his request, the soldier expresses his apprehension about Yujiro fighting Pickle, who is considered a world heritage. Yujiro agrees to depart, provided Henry allows the 8 other fighters to leave unhampered. This is readily accepted by Henry, and everyone exits the facility, except for a single individual perched on a tree, who then slits away through a vent, inadvertently revealing a potential escape route to Pickle. Elsewhere, a young boy named Ruminek questions Baki about his chances against Pickle. Baki confesses his lack of interest in Pickle, being more focused on defeating his father, Yujiro. Despite Rumina's insistence, Baki maintains that engaging in combat with Pickle, an invaluable relic of humanity, is as improbable as making a pyramid his dwelling. However, Rumina's curiosity about Pickle, who is rumored to possess strength surpassing that of a T-Rex, persists. Despite Baki's previous encounters with formidable adversaries like the praying mantis, he reassures Rumina that his singular focus remains on defeating his father. Rumina comments on Baki's cheerful demeanor when he speaks about Yujiro, which leads Baki to introspect on his relationship with his father. Back at the U.S. military base, Pickle grows restless, confined to the tree and repeatedly reminiscing his brief interaction with Yujiro. Puzzled by Yujiro's unique technique, Pickle yearns for another encounter with him. Meanwhile, at the Kung Fu Training and Research Center, Ritsu showcases his abilities, earning applause from Baki and others. Seeing Baki, Ritsu inquires about his sudden visit, assuming Baki wishes to learn Kung Fu. Although Baki confirms his interest in learning from the rich tapestry of principles that Kung Fu offers, Ritsu declines, stating he currently lacks interest in everything, predominantly due to his fixation on Pickle. Baki cautions Ritsu about Pickle's status as a priceless human heritage, yet Ritsu's longing to battle Pickle remains undeterred. He likens his desire to a form of love, craving to know Pickle better and touch him, even inappropriately. Sensing Ritsu's impassioned obsession with Pickle, Baki exits the dojo, lamenting the collective fascination with Pickle in Japan. In the meantime, Pickle is relocated to a large enclosed stadium, where he's greeted by Captain Stridum and Mitsunari Takagawa, who are thanked for their cooperation by Pain. The captain expresses his astonishment at Pickle's survival despite his refusal to eat anything but water for a month. Pain clarifies Pickle's prideful stance, revealing his preference for the meat of a T-Rex. Pain hypothesizes that Pickle will eat only those he considers worthy adversaries. In an attempt to feed Pickle, Pain introduces him to a robust Spanish bull, a large Kamchatka bear, and a lion. However, all 3 animals retreat in fear, acknowledging Pickle's supremacy. The last resort involves introducing human combatants, but before resorting to this, Pain reveals his trump card, a starved Siberian tiger. Upon its release, Pickle immediately kills and devours it. The news of the nearly extinct Siberian tiger becoming a meal for Pickle sparks nationwide outrage. However, scientist Pain shoulders full responsibility for the incident. Pain addresses the global community, asserting that Pickle's value surpasses that of a mere Siberian tiger. He divulges that Pickle's diet currently consists solely of these endangered creatures, and Pain expresses relief that around 500 still exist. Unconcerned about the potential extinction of the species, Pain reveals his obsessive fascination with Pickle. His claim that Pickle's worth surpasses that of any other animal only further stirs public anger. Upon viewing the news, Ritsu opts to meet with Takagawa at his mansion to address Pickle's dietary challenge. Ritsu offers his assistance, recognizing the problematic nature of Pickle's consumption of an endangered species. Aware of Pickle's proclivity to eat only those that attack him, Ritsu volunteers himself as a potential meal, thereby offering a chance to engage Pickle in battle, even if it could result in his demise. Although Tokugawa is unsure about feeding Pickle with humans, he finds Ritsu's proposition intriguing but still hesitates. Ritsu continues to advocate for his cause, emphasizing the miraculous existence of Pickle and the need to preserve him at all costs. He assures that while he would approach Pickle as prey, he has no intention of being devoured, exuding confidence in his ability to face Pickle alone. Tokugawa and the captain present Ritsu's proposition to Pain, who promptly dismisses it, refusing to let his most valued discovery consume a fellow human. However, after persistent reassurances from Tokugawa and the captain, Pain finally concedes and allows Ritsu to enter the stadium where Pickle rests peacefully. The upcoming battle between Ritsu, a master of 4,000 years of kung fu arts, and Pickle, arguably the world's strongest creature, sparks intrigue among the spectators. While Pain predicts a swift end to the fight with Ritsu being consumed instantly, Tokugawa and the captain urge him to watch the unfolding spectacle in silence. Roused from his slumber by Ritsu's arrival, Pickle immediately adopts a defensive posture, acknowledging the imminent threat. Ritsu expresses gratitude for being recognized by such a formidable opponent and promises an impressive performance. The battle commences with Pickle charging at Ritsu, who, realizing his physical strength is insufficient, resorts to his kung fu skills, successfully landing an overhead kick and knocking Pickle down. The sight of Pickle being effortlessly beaten and seemingly shedding tears of pain leaves the spectators in shock. Ritsu clarifies that his attacks could have been fatal for any ordinary person, further commending Pickle's resilience. As Ritsu gains the upper hand, delivering a series of blows, Pain is visibly taken aback. However, Pickle remains undeterred, quickly retaliating and knocking Ritsu out in an instant. It's revealed that Pickle's tears were not of pain but joy, as he found a worthy adversary. Pickle wastes no time in starting to consume Ritsu, tearing at his muscles. Ritsu attempts to resist but soon acknowledges his impending doom. In a desperate move, he removes his shoes to improve his chances, but finds his martial arts ineffective against Pickle, which terrifies Ritsu. In a surprising turn, Ritsu discards his martial arts techniques, attacking Pickle with raw, unfiltered emotion, surprising even Pickle. Finally, regaining his composure and reasserting his identity as the Sea King, Ritsu reverts to his martial arts techniques. With renewed vigor, he lands powerful blows on Pickle, ultimately succeeding in knocking him out, bringing the intense battle to a close. The intense battle concludes with Ritsu safeguarding the legacy of 4,000 years of kung fu that he was entrusted with. As Pickle collapses, heaving a sigh of relief, Ritsu appreciates the effectiveness of his technique. Observing in wonder, Tokugawa, Pain, and the captain finally acknowledge the awe-inspiring nature of martial arts. Pain confesses his surprise that a seemingly ordinary man like Ritsu could withstand such a brutal fight. Tokugawa corrects Pain's mischaracterization of Ritsu's performance, highlighting that it is Ritsu standing victorious, while Pickle lies defeated. However, Pain asserts that Ritsu hasn't managed to beat Pickle given his final blow was insufficient to inflict a concussion. As Pain predicted, Pickle begins to rise, catching everyone off guard. Pain recalls Pickle's initial discovery in a salt mine and subsequent examinations at a nuclear waste plant. The findings of these examinations, his extraordinary muscle tissue, bones, and organs, stunned the scientists as they were far superior to modern humans. Most notably, Pickle's cervical spine demonstrated unparalleled thickness and durability. Pain theorizes that Pickle was likely a quadruped at some point in his life, given his cervical structure more closely resembles large four-legged beasts that bear the weight of a massive head. Meanwhile, Ritsu attempts another attack as Pickle rises, but is thwarted by Pickle's evasive leap. Despite the incredible prowess of Ritsu's ancient Chinese secret arts, Pickle remains unchallenged. Taking a beastly four-legged stance, Pickle demonstrates he's gearing up for a serious fight. Ritsu resumes his fighting stance, unsure of his chances. He observes Pickle's peculiar forward posture, likening it to a sprinter's starting position or a sumo wrestler's initial stance. Yet, Pickle's stance reminds him more of a lion's attack posture, suggesting an imminent, swift lunge. Undeterred, Ritsu decides to face the attack head-on, armed with the symbolic kung fu technique, the crushing fist, confident he can triumph. Pickle, metaphorically ablaze, charges at Ritsu with unmatched speed, employing an attack reserved for formidable adversaries like Triceratops and T-Rexes. Ritsu falters, missing his opportunity to deploy the crushing fist, and is sent hurtling through the air by Pickle's collision. Knocked unconscious, Ritsu is defeated while Pickle emerges as the undeniable victor. Tokugawa is visibly disturbed by the display of Pickle's formidable strength and regrets allowing Ritsu to engage in the fight. As Pickle's tears flow anew and he approaches Ritsu, Pain anticipates Pickle's next move, eating Ritsu, acknowledging its inevitability. Despite Tokugawa's protests, Pain insists on honoring their agreement with Pickle, leaving them with no choice but to witness the gruesome act. Pain reminds Tokugawa that he was the one who initially suggested feeding Ritsu to Pickle, but Tokugawa rushes to Ritsu's aid, desperate to save his friend. Tokugawa pleads with Pickle, emphasizing Ritsu's admiration and dedication to him. However, Pickle forcefully dismisses Tokugawa and resumes his primal screaming. Overcome with emotion, he begins to consume Ritsu, disregarding Tokugawa's pleas. The tragic end to the saga brings a sorrowful close to the dramatic confrontation. The tears in Pickle's eyes reveal his profound sorrow, something that Pain comprehends. Quietly, Pain approaches him with a tranquilizer, causing Pickle to fall unconscious before he can continue to devour Ritsu. Pain then rushes Ritsu to the hospital, where it's discovered that one of his legs has been consumed by the primitive man. When Ritsu awakens, he's shocked to find a missing limb, but expresses gratitude that his life was spared. He laments his failure to keep his promise to Tokugawa, having sworn that he would willingly allow Pickle to consume him should he lose. The memory of his left shoulder being eaten sends shivers down his spine. Confused and full of regret, Ritsu questions his fixation with Pickle and the overconfidence that led him to challenge a man possibly stronger than Yujiro. Baki, upon hearing the news, visits Ritsu and is taken aback by his condition. Recognizing that Ritsu must have indeed fought Pickle, he expresses his disbelief over Ritsu's loss and subsequent mutilation. They exchange a silent look before Baki begins his inquiries. Ritsu anticipates his questions, answering them with a confession of his shame. He admits that it wasn't the physical loss that shamed him, but the realization that he was unprepared for the consequences he had bragged about being ready for. Baki reassures him that he hadn't deceived anyone, and that his actions were simply mistakes. However, Ritsu insists that his lies to himself and Tokugawa, where he declared his readiness to die without having the necessary resolve, violated his principles. Baki acknowledges Ritsu's lifetime dedication to honing his body into a weapon, and now, with a missing leg, he's no longer the lethal force he once was. But Baki sees that Ritsu's pain stems not from his physical loss, but from his internal conflict. He advises Ritsu to take pride in his suffering, assuring him of his continued status as the unparalleled Sea King martial artist and the People's Republic of China's true treasure. Baki recounts his search for the meaning of Ritsu's name online, revealing that it signifies ferocity, intensity, and unwavering determination. He maintains that Ritsu still embodies these qualities and that his true worth resides in his remarkable spirit. Grateful for the motivation Baki has provided, Ritsu pays his respects and thanks him for guiding him back on track. Upon leaving the hospital, Baki reflects on how his father, Yujiro, used to say eat instead of win or defeat. The revelation brings a chuckle from him. Meanwhile, at a dojo, the master, Dappo, amazes his students with his ability to sever a steel wire between two cement blocks using his bare hands. The durability of the wire, which even swords cannot cut, demonstrates the sharpness of Dappo's hands. Receiving a call from Elder Takugawa, Dappo is informed of Ritsu's fate. He is stunned to learn that Ritsu had been eaten by Pickle. The elder clarifies that Ritsu didn't technically lose, but was devoured by Pickle. With the knowledge of the tragic event, Dappo invites his subordinate, Katsumi, to sit with him and shares the news about Ritsu. The mention of Ritsu's fate ignites a spark in Katsumi, fueling his desire for revenge against Pickle for his dishonorable treatment of a kung fu master. However, Dappo counsels him to remain calm. Dappo elucidates the heart of the matter. Pickle seems to view modern humans with disdain. More accurately, he doesn't even acknowledge them as worthy of his contempt. Essentially, Pickle doesn't regard humans as suitable combatants, rather seeing them as his next meal. However, Dappo's explanation seems paradoxical to Katsumi, who pleads for clarity, arguing that it's an exemplification of underestimation itself. Elsewhere, at the headquarters of the Shinshinkai, Karate Master Shinobi receives the unsettling news of Ritsu's fate from Takugawa. Like Dappo, he takes the news seriously and ponders his next move. Word of Ritsu's grim end quickly spreads among the members of the Atsugi base reunion, leaving them all in shock. Meanwhile, Pain discovers that Pickle has regained consciousness, prompting him to question the creature's tolerance to anesthetics. After all, the tranquilizer he had used could incapacitate a rhino for days. But the truly alarming fact is that Pickle has escaped the stadium and ventured into the world at large. Takugawa mentions that the only other person to have ever escaped from such confinement is the formidable Yujiro. Meanwhile, a man named Takeshi Kinmachi, adept at karate, boxing, and weightlifting, wanders the city. He has found no equal in the many dojos and gyms he has visited, raising questions about his aimless nocturnal wanderings. In fact, Takeshi is on the hunt for a worthy opponent. Despite his seriousness in combat, he neither kills nor leaves his rivals unscathed. Disappointed at the lack of suitable challengers, he retreats to an alley for a break and relieves himself on a garbage bag. Suddenly, a hand emerges from the bag, pulling Takeshi into his own puddle. The mysterious figure turns out to be Pickle, who was merely seeking to borrow Takeshi's clothes in an attempt to blend in with the townsfolk. However, his towering frame makes him conspicuous, and people grow apprehensive. Pickle demonstrates his limited vocabulary, words like stars, lights, fire, and heat, and takes pride in his linguistic achievement, despite being visibly perplexed by his surroundings and the late-night activities of the townsfolk. In Pickle's prehistoric era, his primary objective was to consume anything that posed a threat. Now, he needs to find a new purpose as no one seems to pose a threat. However, Pickle is aware of his need for combat to survive and eagerly awaits a formidable opponent. His wish seems to be granted when a truck collides with him, and he misconstrues the truck as an adversary. Ready for battle, he crushes the truck effortlessly. The vehicle's cargo, raw meat, presents itself as a feast for Pickle. Adhering to his principle of devouring anything he has defeated, he indulges in the meal, thus marking the end of his adventure for the night.